lead generation using social media for sales is one of the areas in social media where you can see an immediate impact, an immediate return on investment on your social media efforts. Because what I'm going to show you today, as you will see, that the leads are out there. Yeah, if you use the right tools, the right the right skills, then you will be able to generate new business through social media. And that's what this session is going to be all about. So quickly, what you're going to get after this presentation, I'm going to show you how to find leads through your online listening station. Listening is one of the most important aspects of social media, and particularly for salespeople. We know salespeople love to talk about their product and about their services and the benefits it can offer, but it's also very good for a salesman to step back and to listen. And by listening online as a salesman, you can learn an amazing lot. Yeah, and that's one of the things that we're going to show you today. How can you organize your online listening to maximize the return you're getting from that as a salesman? We're also going to show you how to find your customers and prospects online. All your customers are on some sort of social media network, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's on Google+. And there are several backdoors in all these social networks that will give you very easy access to those customers. Another important aspect for salespeople is how to research the decision-making units and particularly on LinkedIn. Yeah, it's a well-known fact that something like 90% of all CXO people of the top 500 companies, the Fortune 500 companies in the US, are on LinkedIn, and in the UK that number is not far behind. So it is a really good place to analyze your customers and analyze decision-making units. And then very important, we're going to show you how to engage in online conversations with your customers, to develop the relationship and to position yourself as an expert. So some very hands-on tips you're going to get. So let's get on with this. So quickly to introduce myself, some of you in the audience, they have seen me at work at other conferences. I've been in marketing, branding, advertising, business development for over 30 years. Got a very international background. I've been in online marketing now for over 10, almost 15 years. Was one of the first to demo the internet when I worked in Silicon Valley in the States in the mid-90s. 3 years ago, I started with my business partner the company called Love Social Media, and in that context, we're here at this webinar. We're a social media training and services company, and we're now training people, small businesses, large businesses in the UK, in Europe. We do a lot of work in the Middle East, and we're expanding in Asia as well. So there is a big need out there by businesses on how to use social media. And we do this for marketing people, we do this for recruitment people, and in today's context, we do it a lot for salespeople. I published a book recently, which is called Flirtonomics. And the book is available on Amazon. Just search for Mark Campman on Amazon, and that's where you can find a link to the book. It's about attracting, dating, and loving your customers on social media. And if I take that put it into a sales context, it's exactly what social selling is all about. Because in the real world, the first thing a salesman needs to do is need to attract customers. Yeah, he or she, the salesman, goes to events, goes to networking events, sends out mail shots, and that's all about attracting customers to contact them or to get a meeting with them. Once that first meeting has been set, the salesman is then going to that customer and he starts dating the customer. And when you start dating, it's about building the relationship. And once the customer start trusting the salesman, the relationship, the dating turns into loving. Yeah, and when the customer starts loving you, then he or she will buy your product, and you can continue developing the relationship. In social media, it works exactly the same way. Yeah, so it is about finding the customers to drive traffic to your website, to get them to fill in their contact details on your website by having them to download an ebook or register for an event, and that's where the dating starts. And then when the dating turns into a sale, then through social media you can extend the relationship where you can sort of develop the future sales that you're going to get from that customer. So FLIRT, as most of you know, is an acronym. It stands for focus, listen, integrate, reaching out, and track. Now, for this session today, I'm not going to follow this flow. We run a 3-day workshop on the FLIRT methodology for marketing people, and where we're going through every step. I think particularly for the salespeople, the focus, the listen, and the reaching out is very important, and I'll come back to that during the workshop. So, what is social media not for sales? Yeah, let's answer that question before we go into what is it for sales. Social media is not a cheap way of selling. Yeah, it is not another sales channel to promote your business. It's not a bulletin board for your promotion. It is not about promoting yourself on Twitter or your LinkedIn. It's not to talk negative about your competition. It's not the only way to sell your product, and it's not the answer to all your prayers. Unfortunately, you see people on Twitter. They do try to sell their products, but that will be counterproductive to your sales efforts. It is not about promotion. Yeah, for a salesman, social media is all about word of mouth on steroids. Yeah, by doing it right, by sharing the right content, by reaching out with the right messages, people will forward, they will retweet, they will share, they will like your content, and thereby you can expand your network very rapidly. It's a really good place to tap into new markets. Yeah, you can search in networks for people in specific segments, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And so it's very good to develop your target lists. And once you have your target lists, it's a really good tool to find new leads by listening carefully on social networks into the market segments that you've set yourself. Yeah, the leads will come up by searching for them. It's a really good place to research your customers, whether it's on LinkedIn or on Twitter or on Google Plus. Your customers, they're on there, and when they're on there, their profiles are on there. Yeah, and when their profiles are on there, their history is on there. So you can learn a lot from that. Yeah, if you know that the prospect that you're going to visit is blogging, if you can find that out, you can make a reference when you open the call, yeah, to the first blog or the blog post that the customer did, and you showed interest in doing a bit of research for the customer. It's a really good place to develop partnerships. Yeah, so you can find the right partnerships, you can develop them, and it is a really good area to start building your customer community. Yeah, in my workshops, I always talk about the 3 C's of social media. Social media is all about content, about communities, and about campaigns. Yeah, and for the salesman, that works exactly the same. The salesman needs to share good content, and when he shares good content, customers may come back because they want more if they like the content. And when they come back, they will become part of your community. And once they're in your community, you can then start building the relationship. So very powerful tools that you will get as a salesman to be more successful. So the truth about all this is the fact that your customers are using social media to make their buying decisions, and they will do that with or without your participation. Your customer, your average customer, will probably know more about your product than you do. Yeah, because they have the time to research, to analyze, to get reviews of your product, to evaluate, to talk to competitors about your product, yeah, to talk to your customers about your product, and they can do that all online. So they are using the social media, and if you're not part of that, they will move on. Yeah, so that's the big opportunity that you have as a salesperson to be part and to try to influence that buying decision by engaging with the customer online. Now, most of you, if you're not on social media, will look at social media from this context. Oh my God, where do I begin? There is so much. Do I have to be on Google Plus? Do I have to be on Twitter? Um, are there any other specific networks that I need to be on? Where do I start? Now, if I put this slide with all these logos in a structure, yeah, then the structure would look like this. Yeah, so it would be in the center you have your social media networks, and the core social networks are at the moment are Facebook, sort of Google Plus, and LinkedIn should probably be in that center as well. And you could see Twitter as that center. Yeah, so the key social networks these days that are being used are LinkedIn, Google Plus, Facebook, and Twitter. Around that, you can do a whole lot of things. You can share content, yeah, through YouTube or through Vimeo or SlideShare. You can play games. You can network. Yeah, you can buy products. You can go tools like TripAdvisor, Bazaar Voice. You can localize by using tools like Yelp, Foursquare, Google Local, and you can publish your own content through your own blog on WordPress, for instance. And all this is geared towards building conversations, having conversations with your customers that will then lead to interactions. And those interactions, they can be a sale, they buy your product, it can be a download of an ebook, it can be a registering for an event. Yeah, but there is at the end there needs to be an interaction because that's for you as a salesperson is actually the output that you want out of this. And then you have a whole load of tools and devices that you can use to access all this. Yeah, that could be a desktop, a laptop, a tablet, smartphones, and more and more there will be connected devices. Yeah, like Apple Watch that's coming next year. Yeah, is fully integrated with the internet. Yeah, it might be your fridge, it might be your car. Also bear in mind that most of social media these days is done on mobiles or on tablets, yeah, on smartphones or on tablets. So keep that in mind as well with your social media strategy. And if I look at the volumes that is being used on all these social networks, that is beyond comprehension. Yeah, over 1 hour of video uploaded on YouTube every second. Yeah, Google receives 4 million search queries every minute. Yeah, Facebook users share 2.5 million pieces of content every minute of the day. 277,000 tweets every minute. Yeah, even tools like look at not sure if it's on here. Yeah, WhatsApp. You look at WhatsApp. 347,000 photos shared on WhatsApp every minute of the day. Yeah, so the numbers are staggering, and obviously you need to find out where are my customers, and those are the social networks that you need to be at. Okay, so let's put this more into a sales context. Yeah, so the beauty, how I call this social selling, is the beauty of online dating for the powerful world of sales. Yeah, or as we say in the book, the flirtonomics. Yeah, it is about attracting, dating, and loving your customers on social media. And that's where social media fits in every phase of the sales cycle. Yeah, whether it is about leads in the pipeline, whether it's about qualifying your pipeline, or whether it is about managing the customer relation to get additional sales. Yeah, that's those are the main areas. And again, look at leads in the pipeline. That is attracting, qualifying the pipeline, building the relationship, that is dating, and extending the relationship with the customer, that is the loving part. Yeah, so that's where social media fits. And depending on your company, the product that you sell, the lead generation might be more important than the qualification of the pipeline. Yeah, if you have an online shop, and you sell mainly your products online, then the lead generation driving traffic to your website is probably more important than when you sell a high tech product to a handful of customers. Yeah, and the repeat sale from the customers is quite high. So then that's where it's all about extending the relationship with the customer. But it does fit in every space. And interestingly enough, all the skills that you need for selling through social networks, you already have. The only difference, you're going to move it from the offline world to the online world. Because in the offline world, you already meet people as a salesperson. You make introductions, you share your knowledge. When you meet your customers or prospects, you build trust and they ask you questions and you give them the best possible answers. Yeah, you develop thereby your personal reputation and you follow up after the event. In the online world, you do exactly the same. Yeah, you need to meet people, you need to engage with them, you need to introduce yourself, you need to share your knowledge to build trust. People will ask you questions if they know where you are on social media, and thereby you develop your reputation. Yeah, so it's just a matter of taking those offline skills into the online world. And if you do that properly, the number one benefit that you will get as a salesperson is leads. Yes, finding new business. And the second big benefit that you're going to get from this is connections. Yeah, so you can exponentially grow your network by being on LinkedIn, by using Twitter to find people, yeah, and by starting to engage with them to develop your reputation. Yeah, so it's all about leads and about growing your network. So today's salesman uses social media to find opportunities, to research prospects and companies, and to reach out to new prospects, to start using social media internally. Yeah, so they can share their experience as salespeople. They can sort of leverage the pitches that they've done. A salesman today uses social media to find out what's happening with my customer. If on LinkedIn a competitor salesman connects with your customer, that is a warning sign. Yeah, by being on LinkedIn, you can pick up those signals and you can respond to that. So you can spot competitive moves early. If competitors make announcements, yeah, you can find out early on, and you can respond to that. You can target your pitches much better to specific decision makers. You can identify who the decision makers are, and you can make deeper, more personal connections earlier because you can do your research about the person that you're going to connect with, or that you're going to contact, or that you're going to visit. So the social enabled salesman, first of all, knows who he or she is. And when he knows what he or she is, they then also know where their clients are. Yeah, what social networks their clients hang out. And when they know, they're going to make sure that they're there as well. And when they're on the networks where their customers are, they then search, listen, and share. Yeah, so know who you are is all about what makes you unique. Why should I buy from you? What is your competitive differentiator? From you, your product, and your company. Know where your clients are. Are your clients on LinkedIn? Are they on Twitter? Are they on Facebook? Or are they on other social networks? Yeah, that maybe are not like the big social networks. If you're targeting retired people, there is a network called olderiswiser.com. If you're targeting mothers with children, there is a network called Mumsnet. Yeah, so you need to know where are your customers, and then you got to be there. You can be there with your profile and proactively engaging, but there's nothing wrong with being there and just listening to pick up the leads, to pick up the signals. And that's in the fourth phase where you search, you listen, and you share. So know who you are is all about what makes you different. What is your personal pitch? Yeah, and LinkedIn is obviously the best place for you to have your personal pitch ready. And I'll come back to LinkedIn a little further down in the presentation. Yeah, you see two interesting approaches. Yeah, so my sort of pitch, turning your social media content into stories, turning your stories into plays. It's a bit like a story. It is yeah, more like a story that I tell, where the other approach that the lady Laurie Ruff is more keyword driven. Yeah, so there's different approach that you can take there. I'm not that much a keyword. Obviously, I do have the keywords, but I prefer the storytelling approach. Yeah, and it can be like my summary, a um, uh, a good summary, or it can be a very clear summary with call to actions. Yeah, so different ways of doing that, as long as you have a pitch and your pitch is different than being I'm a salesman at company ABC. Yeah, or I'm an account manager at company ABC. Try to stand out from the crowd. So then know where your clients are. That's a very important aspect, that you understand the social networks as a salesman. Now, let's quickly go through the different social networks. When you're in B2B, yes, selling to a business audience, the key social network you want to be on is LinkedIn. Yeah, LinkedIn is business to business. It is a business oriented social networks. It is about corporate brands that have their company pages, and it is for individuals sort of starting to use LinkedIn as their new online CV. Yeah, and the UK is one of the biggest LinkedIn countries in the world, besides India and the US. And you will find that most of your customers, if you're in B2B and targeting the UK, you will find them on LinkedIn. If you're in B2C, consumer marketing, very likely your customers are on Facebook. Yeah, Facebook is clearly the biggest social network, has the biggest activity, has the biggest engagement activity, and people spend most time on Facebook. It's one of the problems that LinkedIn has, is that the time people spend on LinkedIn, the engagement people do on LinkedIn is a lot lower than what you see on Facebook. Yeah, so if your customers are consumers, if there's a lot of passion around your brand, you Facebook is probably the social network that you want to be in. Then the third biggest sort of is Twitter. Now, Twitter is a mixture. You can use Twitter for various reasons. In a B2B content, I use Twitter to keep in touch with my customers in between my blog posts. And I'm not tweeting as a celebrity. I'm not tweeting like, here I am having a coffee, but I'm tweeting value. Yeah, for those people that follow me on Twitter, you will see that every day I send my followers a tweet with an interesting article on social media. Whether it's an article I picked somewhere up on the web, or an article that I wrote myself, or an article that we have with Love Social Media. And I'm getting feedback from people that they appreciate that. That is value that I offer, just what I believe is the top news item or the top article of the day. Yeah, that is value. And when a customer decides to follow you on Twitter, they basically tell you, fine, you can send me a tweet every day, as long as you don't break that trust by not offering value. Yeah, when your other companies, they use Twitter for news broadcasting. Yeah, and that is a very good reason to use Twitter. For bigger companies, if you have a lot of corporate news, they often announce it first on Twitter. And then Twitter is also really good for businesses that have a big customer services organization. So add Twitter as an additional channel for your clients to talk to your service department. Yep, so that's Twitter. You then have Instagram. Instagram is owned by Facebook, and it is sort of photo sharing with a twist. Yeah, so you can sort of add filters on the photos. It really makes you feel like you're your own photographer. And lots of companies use Instagram in combination with Facebook to show them the other side of the company, to show them the informal side of the company. Google Plus is one of the fastest growing social networks at the moment. And Google Plus, when they launched, they positioned themselves against Facebook. And soon they realized, no, we shouldn't do that because Google Plus is different than Facebook. And currently they're positioning Google Plus as, guys, you can fight it, but don't worry, one day you'll end up using Google Plus. For the simple reason that being on Google Plus will give you a clear advantage in search engine optimization of your website because it's Google. And second, being on Google Plus gives you really good additional features, and it will give you access to all the Google apps that are available. So you see that Google is bringing more and more of their apps under the Google Plus brand banner, like commenting on YouTube, like Gmail, for instance. And I'll come back to Google Plus later, and you'll see that for a salesman, it can be very powerful. Google Plus is somewhere in between LinkedIn and Facebook. Yeah, Facebook is fun, LinkedIn is serious, Google Plus is trying out new things. British Airways is on Facebook to share the fun of travel with BAs. They're on Google Plus to test out new service ideas with their audience. And then finally, you have Pinterest. Pinterest is almost like is capturing the visual inspirations that you see on the web, on photos and videos, and then put them in pinboards. It is a really good network to drive traffic to your website. For instance, if I go to the IKEA Pinterest page, I would see a pinboard with kitchens of tomorrow, romantic bedrooms, going back to school. And when I click on the pinboard kitchens of tomorrow, I see different kitchen designs with inspirational photos. If I like a particular item, I can click on that, and that takes me to the IKEA catalog where I can directly buy that product. Yeah, so this is a bit of an introduction of the social networks. If you want this simpler, there is a really simple way of presenting that. Yeah, if my next slide allows me to, and that is the social donut. Yeah, so social media explained in donut terms. Twitter, I'm eating a hashtag donut. Facebook, I like donuts. Foursquare, this is where I eat donuts. Instagram, here's a vintage photo of my donut. YouTube, here I am eating a donut. LinkedIn, my skills include donut eating. Pinterest, here's a donut recipe. Last.fm, now listening to donuts. And Google Plus, I'm a Google employee who eats donuts. Yeah, saying that only Google employees are on Google Plus, but I think that's no longer the case. So my recommendation to you is to be on these social networks. First, you have to be on LinkedIn as a salesman. LinkedIn is your professional business card and your business network. Yeah, that is fundamental. That's where you have to be. You then are on Twitter as a salesman. If you're not allowed to broadcast on Twitter as you're within your company, because there might be regulations, then definitely be on Twitter to listen. Your online meeting places are the LinkedIn groups. In LinkedIn groups, you can find groups in your particular market. You can identify groups. You can create your own group, but those are the meeting places. That's where you connect with other people. And that's where you start building relationships. Start your own blog as a personal showcase, which is your personal content engine. Remember, social media is all about content. The more original content you create as a salesman, the better and the faster you will grow your reputation. And then be on Google Plus to access all the different Google tools and to be more and to develop your network as well. So that's in a nutshell the LinkedIn, the social networks and the tools that I think you should be using. Okay, before I go into these networks quickly, what I first want to do is show you how important it is to listen. We touched on that in the beginning of the presentation, but step back, stop talking, start listening online. Because when you listen, you can find leads, opportunities, you learn about your clients, you learn about your competition, you learn about your market, and you find cool content to share. That's the whole secret about listening. Here's an example. If you searched, this was a company I trained, this was Douwe Egberts, the coffee roasters. They also sell professional coffee machines. And they sell that to a B2B audience. So when I trained them during the workshop, the social selling workshop, we searched for coffee machines on Twitter. And this first tweet came up. Important decision to make. What coffee machines for the new Pink Rocada office? Input is welcome. If I sell professional coffee machines, this is as big as a lead can get. It's a big Dutch company. They need new coffee machines for their office. I would not have found this lead if I wouldn't have searched for it on Twitter. Now, the salesman could have responded, fantastic, great, click here to buy the machine. But no, the salesman understands social media is about building relationships, about dating, about trust, and about conversation. So he responded, the second tweet in Dutch, don't forget that the taste of the coffee is decided by the combination of the beans and the machine. So he gave the customer some advice. And the customer really appreciated that and responded, beans I can change every day, but the machine I can't. So they got into a conversation, and in the end, the salesman sold him the machine. Just by listening on Twitter and by getting into a conversation. Here are two leads that you can pick up on Twitter. On LinkedIn, in LinkedIn groups. There is the Liverpool Mutual Housing Trust. We have 2 tenders available, one for photography and one for community support alarm system. Or another group, can anyone suggest me an established event management company in India? Just by listening to them, you can pick up those leads and you can get on with it. The secret of online listening is in RSS. Now, you all familiar with, you've seen the RSS logo, on many websites. What exactly is that? RSS, you can forget immediately, but it stands for Rich Site Summary, or really simple syndication. What RSS does, if you click on this icon, you will get the web feed of that website. And that is just a URL address. And when you put that URL feed, that web feed, into your own website, into the code of your own website, or into the code of your online listening dashboard, you will then get it presented like what you see here as BBC Education News. You will see the latest 4 or 5 news items that the BBC published. And there is an online link between your feed on your website and the source, which in this case is the BBC website, which means that if the BBC comes out with a new news item, it will automatically be updated in the feed in your on your website or your online dashboard. So what you want to do, basically very simple, for all the websites that you want to listen to, or the searches you want to listen to, or the competitors you want to listen to, or the blogs you want to follow, just get all the RSS feeds and put them on one dashboard. And then you just have the headlines of the news, the headlines of the searches, the headlines of the alerts. Yeah, and then you have your social media listening station. Yeah, so here I have my own social media listening station, which is on NetVibes. That's a tool, netvibes.com. I have one tab with my own social networks. I have a tab with the social media blogs that I'm following. I have a tab with Sphere. Those are the searches that I'm doing on Twitter and on Facebook and on LinkedIn and on Google Plus, where I listen to the leads. And there is a tab with news. And when I get into the office in the morning, I'm not switching on my email, but I'm switching on my online listening station. And in 10-15 minutes, I'm completely up to date with my own social media, with my influencers, with my customers, with the news, and with the leads that have come in over the last 12 hours, the last 24 hours. I'm actually checking this dashboard a couple of times each day. Yeah, so here you see the RSS feed of my own blog. Yeah, so the latest, sort of the last blog posts, and as soon as I do an update of my own blog, it will automatically be updated here in my listening station. So that's a very powerful tool that you have as a salesman, yeah, to help you stay up to date and to listen online to what's going on in the market and to what's going on in people talking around your product, your company, and which will bring in leads. Good. Then what I'm going to do in the next sort of 20 minutes, and then I'm going to open for some questions, quickly go through Twitter, LinkedIn, and Google+, because they are probably the most important networks for you as a salesman to find leads and to develop your network. So first of all, Twitter. When you're on Twitter, when you search on Twitter, make sure you always search, not always, but that you add a question mark to your search stream. For instance, if I search for CRM software as one word, that's why I put them in parentheses, and advice with a question mark, I'm getting all the tweets that match this search criteria. And why a question mark? If customers have a problem or prospects have a problem and they need something, they will ask a question. And that's pretty standard. But then why not add a question mark to your search stream? So if I search here for CRM software advice and a question mark, look at the third tweet. Anyone out there have advice, thought, recommendations on accounting and or CRM software they like? If I sell CRM software, to me that's a lead. Yeah, so and those leads are out there for you to pick up. You see that people are promoting their business. Yeah, well, okay, that's their choice. But out there, you will find leads like this. And that's where Twitter is an extremely good platform to do the search. Now, I can create this search in my NetVibes listening station and I can save it. So then it will when I go then to the dashboard from Twitter searches, it will automatically give me the latest tweets with that match this search query. So that's tip 1 on Twitter. Tip 2 on Twitter, not many people know that there is an advanced search in Twitter. Yeah, if you just go to search in Google for Twitter advanced search, and that will give you the link to this search screen. You can search by all of these words, this exact phrase, by hashtags, by people. You can search by place, by date, and here you can search positive, negative, or question. So if I was looking for coffee machines in the Netherlands, yeah, I would say the exact phrase coffee machine or help and coffee machine written in Dutch, location Netherlands, and then with a question mark. Yeah, so gives you a lot more search fields, and you can make your searches more specific. You will find in social media search and listening on social media is garbage in, garbage out. Yeah, so if you don't know what your keywords are, then yeah, you will not get good search results. Yeah, so the better you know what you have to search for, the better your results can be. And then finally, a really good place to search for people on Twitter is on a site called Follow-a-Wonk. Follow-a-wonk.com allows you to search bios. Yeah, those and a bios is the Twitter profile of a person. So if I search and I want to know marketing directors in the UK, yeah, so who in Twitter has marketing director and UK in their Twitter profile? If I search for that, then here you get a list of the marketing directors in the UK, 1250 results. I could make it more specific, marketing directors in telecoms, for instance. And the good thing about Follow-a-Wonk is that you can also see their Twitter history and their social authority. Yeah, is how good are they? How active are they on Twitter? And how many retweets are they getting, etc. So that's a really good tool that you can use to develop your network. Good. That's Twitter. We then have LinkedIn. LinkedIn is Facebook with a tie. Yeah. In Facebook, you're worried about your personal profile and your privacy. In LinkedIn, you're not. In LinkedIn, you want to be visible and you want to be professional. Yeah. So LinkedIn is serious. LinkedIn, you should have a photo and you should have a serious photo, where on Facebook, you can get away with a party photo. Yeah, there's various aspects to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is first about your profile. Then LinkedIn is about connecting with other people. And then LinkedIn is about searching for people, building your target list in LinkedIn. So, looking at your profile, there are 5 important aspects of your profile. There is what I call your teaser, which is your headline, which is your personal statement, your elevator pitch. Yeah, most people put there, I'm a salesman manager or an account manager or a sales director at company ABC. Well, you can see here which company you're working at. So use that as an opportunity to stand out. I'm an account manager or a sales director with a passion for whatever. Yeah, but make it your personal pitch and use your keywords in there. Yeah, combined with a professional photograph. Yeah, so it's a picture, name, professional headline, location, and industry. Also, a little tip here: you see your public URL. This is what people will see. The site people will see of your profile when they are not registered on LinkedIn or not signed into LinkedIn. And you can define how much people can see. When you check your own LinkedIn profile, it might be your name plus a list of numbers is something that LinkedIn will generate automatically by default. You can change that if you go into edit mode, and then you can change it just into your name. And if your name has been used by other people, you call it Mark Campman 1 or Mark Campman 2. Yeah, it looks a bit better than a long list of numbers. Yeah, so that's your your teaser. You then have your short overview, which is your current, past jobs, recommendations, connections, your website, etc. And you have your background. Very important element is this. Yeah, don't make it too long and make it to the point. This is where you can start talking about the company that you currently work for instance, and what you're doing at that company. Yeah, so also bear in mind you can now add photos, videos, presentations in your profile, so to make your profile more visual. And then there is sort of the specifics, your experience, your education, and yeah, LinkedIn will actually tell you how much percent complete your profile is, and always try to aim for the all-star profile, which is 99% or something. You can't get 100%, and LinkedIn will give you tips on on how far you are and what you need to do to improve your profile. Then, when you're happy with your profile, you're going to connect with your customers. Yeah, and you're going to build up your network. Very important to understand there are first, second, third degrees and fellow members of your LinkedIn groups. Those are people in your network. First degree connections are people you're directly connected to because you have accepted their invitation to connect, and they have accepted your invitation. You can contact these people by sending them a message on LinkedIn. You have second degree connections. Those are people that are connected to your first degree connection. So that means you have a shared connection. You can connect with these people, yeah, but you cannot send them a message in LinkedIn, but you can if you upgrade to premium. Yeah, and then you can send them what we call an in-mail. Um, I don't accept invites from people I don't know on LinkedIn, except when there is a business reason to know that person. It could be a big prospect. Yeah, then I accept a connect. So I would not connect with people myself that I don't know. So if I really want to connect with a prospect that is a second degree connection, I would then actually check what is the first degree contacts that we share, and then I can be introduced by the first degree contact to that second degree contact. Yeah, so that is a better way of getting an introduction to a second degree connection. Then you have third degree connections. They are people who are connected to your second degree connections. You cannot send them an email in LinkedIn, but you can send them an in-mail, but you need to upgrade to premium. There are two ways you can see a third degree connection: either the full first name and the full last name, then you could connect with them, or the first name and the first letter of the last name, then you cannot connect with them. Yeah, so check when you want to connect with somebody, check what type of connection it is before you connect with that person. And then fellow members of your LinkedIn groups. These are people, they're part of your network because you're members of the same group. You can send people in a LinkedIn group an individual message within the LinkedIn group. So that is a really interesting thing in LinkedIn, and that's a backdoor that not many people are actually aware of. As a salesman, if I really, really want to connect with a third degree connection because you found that person on LinkedIn, yeah, it's a hot prospect for you. You really want to get in there. So what you could do, check that third degree's profile, what groups he or she is a member of, join one of those groups, and then within the group, you can send him or her a message. That is it's allowed. There's nothing wrong with it, except don't spam. Yeah, so make sure it's value, and there's a reason that you want to send that person a message. So first you may want to check, has that person had any conversations in the group, any discussion, and then maybe you start adding comment to a discussion that person. So you slowly start building a relationship. Don't spam. Yeah, we've run campaigns for customers where we did email campaigns through the LinkedIn groups to hundreds of people. Yeah, and it was all very value emails that we sent to them within the LinkedIn groups, and we had a response rate of about somewhere 12 to 15% on the calls to action that we set in the messages, which is compared to a 2 or 3% response rate into a standard email campaign. Yeah, which is so it's a really good tool, but use it carefully. So, how do you build your target list in LinkedIn? what you do in LinkedIn, you go to the advanced search. And then in advanced search, you search for people, you type in marketing director, for instance, as keywords. You don't know the person's name, you don't know the company. You could type in the location, so that could be near London or in Scotland. Make sure that you always tick in the relationship, untick first, but tick everybody else. And then you can actually select the industry as well. So if you want to look for marketing directors in internet, yeah, in near London, yeah, then you get your target list. And here you are. I searched for marketing director for internet. Yeah, in my second group and third and everyone else, I found 12,618 results. Yeah, so that's how you can target your marketing, sort of your target lists. Create them, yeah, and then within LinkedIn, you now have a sort of a through the LinkedIn, you can actually start building target lists. You can save contacts, although you're even not you're connected with, but that's something that we do in our sort of our into our more in-depth workshop that we're running. Yeah, we'll show you how to use the CRM functionality in LinkedIn to manage your target lists. How do you deal with third level contacts? For instance, if I want to sell to the sales manager at Costa Express, that's what I would search for, yeah, or the marketing director at Costa Coffee, I would then get, in this case, Sally Ann M. Now, before I can do anything, yeah, I need to know who she is. What's her real name? So what I can then do is take Sally M, Sales Development Manager at Costa Express, take that to Google, search for it, and then you will get her full profile and her full name in LinkedIn. She is in LinkedIn. Click on that, and that takes you to her full LinkedIn profile. Check which group she's a member of, and then within the group, you can start building a relationship with her. Yeah, so that's the power of LinkedIn. If you're happy with your LinkedIn profile, here's a little gadget that you can use. Go to a tool, visualize.me. And visualize.me with 2 Z's will give you an infographic of your LinkedIn profile, which is a link, a permanent link. Yeah, so if a customer asks me or a prospect asks me, Mark, can you send me some information about yourself? I send them the link to this infographic about me, just to stand out, to be different from the crowd. Yeah, so really cool tool that you can use to present yourself. Finally, Google Plus. Google Plus is an interesting one. Google Plus is a very powerful social network, yeah, for various reasons. First, everything you do on Google Plus will show up on Google. Yeah, and therefore, being on Google Plus will really help you with your search results or your position of you or your company on Google. Second, Google Plus will more and more be integrated with all the tools that Google has, like Google YouTube, Google Drive, email, calendar, and what have you. Yeah, so that's where Google says, don't worry, don't fight it. One day you're going to end up using it. And third, Google Plus has some features that makes it really useful for businesses. There are 2 killer features in Google Plus. First of all is Google Circles. Google Circles allows you to segment your connections. In Facebook and in LinkedIn, everybody is your friend. In Google Plus, you can organize them in circles. Yeah, so you can have a circle for friends, for business contacts, for prospects, for influencers, or what have you. And then when you do your posts, you can actually target them to specific groups. So you're doing a post only for your customers, or only for your friends, or only for your prospects. So you can really segment your posts. There's another killer feature in Google Plus, which is called Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts is what I call Skype on turbo. Yeah, so Google Hangouts gives you full video conferencing on Google, yeah, you can have up to 9 people in one video conference. But then a really cool feature, you can stream it live on YouTube. Yeah, so for instance, when Obama was elected president, he invited 9 journalists to be part of the Google Hangout. They could ask the questions to the president, but it was streamed live on YouTube for millions of people to see. So it is a really cool feature. And what you see now on the internet, there's a whole sort of current of Google Hangouts going on where people share, people talk, people train. Yeah, so a very powerful tool. So should you be on Google Hangout? I think you should. First of all, because it gives you access to the wealth of the Google tools. Second, you can stand out from the crowd again. If your customer asks you, "Hey, shall we do a Skype call?" Then why not say to the customer, well, have you ever tried Google Hangout? It's much cooler, much better. Yeah, so you show a bit of innovation to your customer. But the main reason why, as a salesman, you have to be on Google Plus is because of the search. Yeah, and obviously Google is all about search. Yeah, so when I do a search on Google Plus, I am looking for CRM software. Yeah, and I select not everything, but Google Plus posts. Here you go. I'm looking for CRM business partner. Anyone here familiar with customer relationship management software? I am looking for a solution that is simple. Well, hey, that's a lead. Yeah. So, and the same, you could search for marketing director and then people and pages, and that would give you marketing director directors in Google Plus. Yes, so lots of reasons, lots of places on Google Plus where you can find prospects and contacts. So that's basically the power of Twitter, LinkedIn, and Google Plus as a salesman. So my recommendation to you, and that's sort of to conclude the presentation, your action points. First of all, find out where your customers are. Yeah, so it's no use being on Facebook as a salesman if your customers are not on Salesbook or are not on sales on Facebook. Yeah, so find out where they are. Where do they spend their time? Is it on forums, on blogs, on social networks, in groups, etc.? Yeah, so know where they are. Once you know where they are, you're going to listen. You're going to create your online listening dashboard. You're going to set up alerts on Google. When Google finds content on your competitors, your customers, or your keywords, Google will give you an alert, and you can bring that alert as an RSS into your listening station. You're going to join groups on LinkedIn. You're going to follow Twitter conversations. Yeah, so, and that's where you start picking up the leads. You can then socialize your CRM. Yeah, you're not alone as a salesperson. You're part of a team. Why not integrate the social profiles and activities into your customer relationship management system? Yeah, so instead of just entering the last email that you did to a client, also add the tweets, posts, and the forum comments. So social power your collaboration internally. Yeah, share the experiences that salespeople have. Yeah, share your proposals. Yeah, share why you win. Share why you lose, and you can all do that through internal collaboration and using your own social media tools. Why not start, if you have a sales team, start a private LinkedIn group. Nobody can see that except your sales team. Yeah, and start using your private LinkedIn group to share your social experiences in social setting. And then very important, track your social driven sales. Yeah, so measure your success. See how many leads that you're getting. Try to set objectives for yourself as a salesperson. That's how many leads I want to get through my social media. That's the conversion rate I want to achieve. And this is the plans I have in growing my Twitter, growing my LinkedIn, developing my connections, etc. And then when you follow these steps, follow these action points, then I'm sure you will get significant results out of your social selling activities.